Testing, testing. Looks like my mic is working. Alright. Going ahead and going over the games. First game I plan to go over is Vaneco versus Gobstopper.
Review started.
So far, pretty simple, straightforward game. No mistakes in the opening. This could be technically the first one to look at if like we consider the whole board. It would be better to go ahead and come down like to the bottom of the board and split it so you can approach here or split the side, put more pressure on this group. For example, playing here, if the opponent plays this, we can play something here. And the reason I say that is because, well, we have this invasion. So if we play something a little bit normal, something like this, we can scoop up the territory here. There's other ways to handle this too. So for example, your opponent could block, but the issue with blocking like this is one, we can live here, and two, if we block, we want to play this one. So when we come to the outside like such, we can go ahead and take this. Or if the opponent plays here, we run into this situation. But generally, this is a little cramped. We'd do this if these stones were one all to the right. So what happens is the opponent will likely play along this side, and then if white connects, black can go back for the corner. And white can get the side, but they're giving up these stones here, so there's a lot of aji with the one stone, and there's no reason to throw in here. This is probably too soon now. I would probably want to play here, but if the goal is for sacrificing the stone, then it's fine. And this is... Yeah, you should just take... Unfortunately, it does mean that white gets to peep under, but this is kind of the shape that you're going for. On the other hand, like, you don't actually have to add a move here. This is kind of a finish shaped already. And it's not like if you play a move, white's going to come back and play this, because it's a little slow. This just gives black the opportunity to just Tanuki already. That might be a small mistake. So for example, you would want to actually squeeze this. So once you squeeze this, you actually have access to the corner, and you have a lot of pressure on this group. If the opponent continues to play down like this, now you can just fix the outside. If you recklessly play, say, something like this, you can be squeezed. However, I think it's fine because you can just capture, but it does mean that black can squeeze the corner later. So after something like this, we'll just Tanuki. Maybe not Tanuki. Maybe this one's better. Yeah. We'll play something like this, and then black can Tanuki. But it does mean that this is actually really good for white, right? So you have the opportunity to play here, but I don't think it's completely needed. Well, maybe it is. You don't want this, so playing here is fine. I take back what I said. Okay, so we blocked. We should just play the Atari anyways, and then play here. Or better yet, you can play this one, and if they cut, you can go for the group. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, we're having to run with these stones. Like we didn't need to make this mess, but we're having to live with it. We can actually. So one thing that happens a lot is like you have this strong group here. It's very thick, but you're playing moves that inch across the board instead of using that thickness, right? So here, just play something like this and continue to play like that. Get become a little more how do be a little bit more brave, right? Like, play moves that actually attack the opponent. You can probably even play something like this, or attach something here to gain strength. And then if you play this net move, like play a move that helps you capture everything in a very large way. But running out like this is too good for white. This move is not good. At the very least, you can still play here first and then jump. No need to let the opponent just recklessly. The difference here is that if the opponent cuts, we're going to extend. And now, like, we are now actually killing the opponent because they cannot cut us. Even if they played like this, there is no cut. Black is essentially killing. So there's no sequence here in which if we play this way, right? They can't really cut us because we don't care. Black can struggle all they want, but we're too thick on the outside. But in this case, when black is ahead of us and they get to cut us, now it's different. Now black has the ability to attack this group here. Maybe we can be more aggressive. So like this into here. And now it's a race between these stones and these ones. But the issue is that we have the inside stones. So if white plays here where we have 4 liberties, white doesn't, right? And I think we can play, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like this, white's in trouble. And if white tries to play this one, well, now we're in more than just trouble. White dies, right? So white actually is going to have trouble trying to play that way, so they need to extend, but that extend is what gives black the ability to come out this way. Preferably, like, you'd still continue to play this, probably extend, and then now you can come back and connect, and now white's split. So that's how that fight should have gone for black. But black backed off. That's not terrible. It just means that there's not as much pressure as white. This is probably not the right idea. You should definitely play a little bit more loose, a little loose. But we did let black off pretty easily, so it's not good. It's a good technique. White's kind of, their group isn't really that great, so this is just going to be a lot better. If white tries to play this way, we have the ladder, right? If white goes down, then, we're not really worried about this corner. Instead, when white tries to run with this group, we don't have to worry about it. We just come back and kill the 2 stones. Because this is a big profit already. Instead, we kind of gave our opponents a lot of leeway here with this, especially all these cutting points. I think this. I guess it actually doesn't matter. This is probably fine. I kind of want to play this one first. The issue is that if they were to air quotes fix, but like once this is captured, it doesn't actually matter because we can run with the group. And black kind of lost all their points. I think this is probably better. In the event that like this happens though, you can actually race against the corner. Can you fully do that? I don't know. And if you play here, it's probably not. Uh, it's not a co either. unfortunately, because of this. So it's a little tougher. So I guess if we probably shouldn't make these exchanges. I think I would turn. Now, if the opponent plays this one, we can then go for the squeeze. Right, like this. We have the ability to kill the group. We can also do this one. So now, if they extend here, we've taken the points in the corner. We can take, and this would be perfectly fine. So we even took more in this variation. If we tried to play this way, we run into the issue that we don't have enough liberties. So black can come back and capture even if you can play this one. It's a very complicated situation, but we just took the points, that's fine. I think at least try playing here and then squeezing. Now we can play here. I kind of want to try this. I don't know if this actually works. We can see if low playout AI thinks. Yeah, okay. Not good for. You can see it's all dead, right? So maybe white has the right idea. Not going for that fanciness. This is fine. Okay, so we lived. That's good. Fairly normal. At this point, it might be better to just play here. Or even just Tanuki, but I wouldn't want to touch the outside. This group is fine, so there's no move here that stops white from playing on either side here. Right, like we can actually break into this. But this feels like it gives too much for black. I think just here is enough, and then black can just connect with this. The idea would be is like here, then we're fully connected underneath, and if we play this one, then we have this move. So if white plays here, these stones are in trouble. If white plays this move, we're going to Atari first, and then connect under. This does have some issue with this, but even if white gets the outside, they lose the corner, and there's some issues with the inside group and the outside group. There's so many cutting points. If they take and then play here, these two stones are just dead. We can play the ladder, or not the ladder. I'm sorry, the ko. And connecting is probably not needed. Connecting is very, very slow move. At this point, I would focus on playing something over here. Okay. I can see where the game is going with something like this. Yeah, that is a very good move. But if we just play this way, you don't really get to go out. So you're sacrificing stones for no reason here. If we did something akin to this, maybe we start here and then play this. The idea being now we're going to make the exchange with this, but I I can't. I think it has faults here. Black can really try to go for everything as well because the corner is open. Even if you were to do this, black can capture the stones. So if you jump out, black just plays here for strength. If you block in the corner, then black plays here. And now we're in a situation where you have to figure out how you're going to race with these stones against 7 and 5 when you cut. This is not good. This is so big. You would think that this is the issue, but the actual issue is that you have to come back and play here. And then once white plays on the outside, these stones are captured. Now, these black stones are in trouble. Oops. These black stones are in trouble. So you've run into a massive gain for white. Like, their goal is actually accomplished. I don't know why. Well, we connected here, but it's not. It doesn't necessarily help us when we have to connect here. So now black can try to run with the group without having to capture the stones. So white missed a very large opportunity here. Okay, so this is kind of you can probably go for a trade now. Now, white's still alive here, so we need to play here first, or even just play this one. White takes, we play here. Uh, white should probably give up the stones. So we take once and play here. Black takes. So we give up these stones for these, and then white can come back and save these ones. So if we did it like this, white +4 compared to um, black +9. So I think black needs to fight this. Very important. Unfortunately, this doesn't fight. This just gives white the option to attack black. Oh. Uh, we could have played this, right? And then connect. Now there's nothing. If we play here, there is something. We play here, like in Hane, but we're going to extend. And then you should be able to play this move to kill. Idea being, if they play here, that's fine. If they extend, that's also fine. We're always limiting because this is not connecting. So yeah, that's a big one here. Is just connect, right? In this particular case, it's a little bit more difficult because black can extend, whereas if we played the Atari first and then connected, there's an actual issue here. And okay, black was able to bring the stones back. That's good. At this point, we lost a lot of points on the right side, so we need to actually play more fierce. Like, this is an opportunity to bring the game back. We also need to take this opportunity to count, right? Like, so white's alive here, but we have a forcing move. White also is fully connected on the outside here, so white's alive. We took the corner, but at the same time, white kind of overextended here by playing the knight's move. So even if we didn't know if the score was good or not for us, it just makes sense to split the white group here when we have a group here that needs to be relatively stronger. So the issue with the group on the bottom is that white has this undercut. So things like this can happen where white can peep underneath and destroy the ice base. So when we split here, we get into a position where this group is actually safer because we are cutting, and we can now focus on attacking. So now if the opponent plays here, they have to make a choice here, right? So like we're basically alive even if white could play here because we can run to both groups, and we've captured a few stones in this direction. If the opponent becomes obsessed with saving the stones, then we get to extend here for free, and now white is in a position where they need to save both sides and they have too many cuts, right? So that's going to be super important. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game because this is kind of just the wrong direction, and we're giving white thickness in the center that we don't need to be doing. It was super important that we took this time to play this. This is like game changing move. Whereas here, white's super thick, and we should just play bases like this. No need to continue here. But once white's thick in the center, we run into the issue where we can potentially get cut later, but also like this cut here is ineffective. Okay, let's move on to Rain Dog versus Euro Steve.
Review started.
Okay. Oh, fun. I really don't recommend playing this move. I more standard is just to play here or Tanuki, right? If you play here, you're giving yourself this position where you can be pincered and then you're cramped. Even if you can play here, it's not a very comfortable position when the opponent can continue to put pressure on your group. So it's generally better to just extend here. We also just don't have any stones on the left side, so like you need to have a stone over here to make it worth it. But even if you did, you would want to play one further, whereas this one, it still runs into the issue where white can still jump into the side and put pressure onto the stone. It's better to just extend. So white's putting pressure on the group. We took out. That's great. I like that. Kicking is fine. I can agree with that. That's fine too. I personally probably would have preferred maybe something like this. So if they extend, now we have this one, or this one, where if they extend here, then we get a lot of inside corner stuff here, but also we make them weaker. But when we play here, we gave them the option to extend and play here. So now with something like this, we run into the issues of being attacked here. Right, we lose these stones like this, so we have to connect and they connect, and eventually they'll probably be able to jump in the corner, and we lose a few points that way. So here, I'd probably just, well, I guess if you clamp it, it's actually very similar, right? Different order. So just maybe Hane is the best. Extending, that's good. Okay, this is somewhat Joseki. You do have the option of playing here, but this makes sense. After this, we should fall up in the corner, and then we can come back and play on the top side, or play here or play here. But leaving this means that you put yourself in an awkward position where you have to run with these stones again. Where if you just make the solid base, if white's the one that tanukis, then you can come back and actually attack this group in a very nice manner. Whereas if they have to run, it's not so nice anymore, right? Because now when white's running out, it's hurting this group. They got to run here. Maybe they extend this way, but then black gets a really nice extension on the bottom for free, right? You can even not play something like that, and they still someone need to make an answer here because black pushing here is not okay. So they might try stuff like this, and then you can come back and attack the top side. Like you leave yourself with a lot of options when you connect, and white's forced to come back and play here, and then you can come back and play a very large move on the top side. Whereas here, black took the large side, and I would have just played here. There's no reason to invade just yet. If we do invade, probably not this one. If we run into this issue, mm, I wouldn't want to do that either. But then if we get into this position, do I really want to run with this group? Not really. We're kind of cramped in this position. I would focus on the larger moves, right? Like our opponent didn't play A, they didn't play B. If we really want to invade that top side, we can actually just play C. And the reason I say that is because our opponent played a low stone here. So you have the ability to shoulder hit both sides. You can also cap. So if they cap, then you can go to either side, right? So a very flexible move to play. And if we play C, we get into this position where we can play a ko. And basically what we're saying is eventually when we've played all the moves on the outside and we get into this position with the ko, um, we're assuming that black is low here when we come to play the 3-3. Otherwise, what'll happen is, like, say you play B. Well, let's play this one. The opponent jumps, jump, jump. We get this large move, and then they play something like this. Yeah, it can be a little bit painful. But say we take the option to come here, because if they play here, we can play in the corner, vice versa, stuff like this. Or if the opponent just answers directly, now we have a stone on the outside. You can see that with this, it's much harder for the opponent to make points when we have moves on the outside that allow us to just reduce the top side in general. This is kind of painful. I would play here immediately, and the reason being, and like when we play this one, we run into the issue where white is getting moves to live locally. If white's able to live just locally, then and this is also a very popular problem that I don't remember. But if we just extend, we run into the issue. Well, we should be alive because we have this Hane. But in order to live, I believe we need to extend. But generally, white can't really be super aggressive here. They can play something like this. If black just connects, then we do need to live. But you can see that black gets super thick because we've invaded, right? So we don't want to do that. Unfortunately, we played this too soon. We want to play this one. So we're basically asking the opponent, if you connect here, then I get this move. If you connect here, I get this move. And the idea being we can Hane and then do something similar. Right, so in this case, black's going to get the outside, but white's alive locally. So white's going to get the first move to come back here. Probably at this point, we don't want to take the corner anymore. These two stones are looking a little lonely. But if we do play here, it's going to be a good move regardless, just because these stones need to run, and we can bring these stones out. Okay. Are you alive on the top side? Probably. I actually don't know. I immediately see this move and I think white's in trouble. I don't see how you're dead. Is it just that simple? Is it this one? It looks like it's a... It's not even a ko. I'm gonna throw in. So you're not alive that way. So you block. If you just block, then here. And then this. You can play this one. And what this does is you're also locally dead. So we're in trouble because we need to make life somehow. Probably like this. The other, oh, that's an issue. Okay, so our group is in like big trouble here. So we did need to have this move. But it's entirely possible that I'm missing something, but I think that black can just go for the kill here. Gotta be careful with this type of moves, because now when white plays here, you can't really save everything, right? Later, like, it becomes a pain if white doesn't add a move, but usually white does add a move later. But splitting first is fine. Yeah, okay, I forgot to turn off the AI, but yeah, kicking is going to be a very big move. And it looks like the way to kill is this. So even if white was able to come out, issue being no liberties here. Okay, that's cool. Black blocked. But yeah, you need to fix here. Essentially, if you play here, white can play this, but it looks like this is going to be the move. So if you try to fight back, now white's actually thicker on the outside because they're peeping both cuts. They can just connect. Whereas before, it would just be here because we didn't have the stone. Uh, Unfortunate. Yeah, this is going to be a big move too. So if the opponent connects, now you block. So even if the opponent gets moves like this, they don't get the Hani and Sente. We can also play here. But we can play this one as well. The bump is kind of like reactionary. The opponent needs to find a way to fix the shape without bamboo type of thing. And generally stuff like this can happen. Um, so we need to be very careful. Oh, just extend. Don't play this type of move because you're just hurting yourself. Yeah, if the opponent just breaks through like this, you come into the issue of like you can't even capture these stones because you can play here now. Like the stones on the side are dying, so you play here, and then you need to find a way to make eye shape. You have to be very careful about how you make eye shape. This would work, kind of. Yeah. This would work. So if you play here and then this, you can just block. There's nothing there. If you play here, then you run into the issue where this move becomes very annoying later. Even if you get this, it's all Sente on the outside, right? And then same here. You have to be very careful of this stone. Big kill threats like this. The group itself is just a cofactory. In the actual game, we kept extending. We didn't need to do that. This is going to be very big, so this is one way to save the stone. So that way, when the opponent tries to break through, we can try to make life this way. But we're running into the territory where we keep making loose shape, and now our opponent is cutting us for it. All our shapes are for nothing. Unfortunately, white lost too much here, and now black came back and fixed. Yeah, black is feeling pretty comfortable this game. Um, well, let's see what happens in the game. This is so like the top side is actually not fully alive. We probably just block here, right? Black is probably worried about something like this, but the reality is that white needs to figure out a way that we're going to live with these stones. It's probably possible, but this is very difficult. So with something like this, we can't really do the Hane stuff anymore, because if we connect, we die with these stones, and then if we play something like this, white gets to play this nice Atari, which we're forced to answer. And then white can do stuff like this, or play here. But something like that would lead to death, because we can connect, right? So it's a very tough position for white. Okay, so I think the big thing here is that we're getting too zealous of our opponent's area, but we should learn Joseki essentially. Like we should learn these formations so that when we're able to play it, we know what's important. Um, so if we take your opponent's Joseki, that means their own groups are in trouble, right? Whereas black had the opportunity to play this move, force white to play here, and then come back to a large point or play something like this. Um, but when our opponent didn't do that, we got a little zealous about the top side, which we didn't need to be, right? And we kind of put ourselves in this position where our opponent is going to be able to attack us, and then we made an errorist move, a small detail, but we really needed to kind of run out here. Whereas we tried to play this one, and then we kept adding moves to the group where we got surrounded, and then now the group is dead, type of thing. Unfortunate, but it does happen. I hope you guys learned from this. I'll review the game.
Review started.
And it looks like this is a fun game, lots of death. So definitely a trade probably happened. Generally, I would probably fix the facing 3-4 first, just because there's more value in this side. So when you play here, I am more likely to come and take this over, you being able to extend on this side. Or even if you play this one, I can then play and prioritize the right side, right? So like you get this shape on the bottom, but I get to split the side that's more important. I already have another side, so even if you were to come in like this and then fix your shape, I'd be very happy to play like this. Whereas in the actual game, we're playing Chinese. We're playing the Chinese opening as white. Black got double sides. Okay, this is nice, but we didn't need to kick. If you're gonna play something like you already made the opponent respond, right? So like they're playing on a smaller sign, you can just jump. That's super big. If the opponent continued to play like this, you can take the large moves. So like if they continued to play for slow moves, then like you can continue to build the bottom side like this. That's kind of what the Chinese is all about. Is like we get to take the large points while also building the framework. Whereas black kind of needs to start playing this way, but then you can either split or like you already have a framework here, so now you can focus on splitting the top side. But this is not good for several reasons. One, like if you kick, you want to jump out to make this large, but then black can jump in. But also like you're playing low, vertin low, and then low. So you have 3 low stones, third line, third line, third line, and this is technically fourth line, but it's on the third line, so it's not going to really count because it's tucked into the corner. This is a 4-4, it's probably a lot better, but with third line, third line, third line, black isn't really in a hurry to do any sort of reduction here. They can take their time by playing this. Okay, this is good. I would connect. I think this is a fine way of playing, and then you have a couple of options here. You could play something like this. I would probably prefer this move. It's going to be a lot nicer. So now when the opponent plays like this, we can just play something among the reduction moves. So in terms of reductions, you can play these types of moves. You can attach. White 4 is probably a little too much, so like they might try something along these lines. But if you look at this board, um, the thing is white's tucked into one side of the board. So that's the only thing they can do. They can only grow this one side of the board, which means this isn't very big, right? And if they play like this, then you can just jump into the corner by attaching. So like they're trying to make this large area, but like our corners kind of suffice with how much territory they're getting, and we can just attach. There's also the fact that later you can break the sector line, right? So if we consider this position and we made like this imaginary line, who has the bigger side of the board? Black. We have this full section here that white doesn't have, right? If we were to compare things, black almost has one more stone on the top side would kind of make the top side just as big as this whole bottom area. So the fact that we are one more move away from forcing our opponent to invade, like our opponent's going to eventually have to answer this, which isn't very clean. This move is more or less a mistake. Even if you do get this, I think, and white's connection here is not good either. You should connect the important bit, so when they come back and fix, now you can be a little bit more aggressive. Like, you can definitely split the top side now. This connection is definitely a mistake. This extension is a mistake. You need to fix. And then the opponent probably needs to play something like this. But now it means that, black is actually a lot thicker here. So we can play this. So we have this idea that like if we put pressure on our opponent, we can just Hane. And while it seems like a good idea, if the opponent just fixes their issue, right? Like you can't really go deeper. We've played a move that fixed the issue for the opponent, and now we probably need to spend a move to fix our own cut, right? If we don't fix the cut, say we play here, well now white actually has a reason to cut because it makes this area larger. And if you just give up the stones, white's gaining solid territory, and it's slightly bad because we still need to come back and fix eventually, which means white's the one that can play the reduction game, and they have all the points. So it's a fickle way of playing when both players are like, I'm going to take all the points here. Give me 1 second. Okay, this is actually quite normal. I would play this move. So the opponent has a couple of options. They're most likely to play this way and then continue splitting. So we gave black this outside, while white is kind of focused on like they need to make a living group. They did. Now black can capitalize on like the thickness on the outside. There's also issues with white shape in general when black cuts. So white needs to figure out how they're going to use the Aji here without hurting their corner in order to jump in here. But also, like, this is a big risk, right? So if white just plays a large move, we do run into the issue where black can actually attack white in a very large way. So if like you just extend, well now we're in a different issue where black can take control and start attacking this way. You don't need to make points with large areas, you just need to force the opponent to invade. So when they split or they try to live there, you can gain profit elsewhere. Here, this is too much for black. We don't need to block here either. If you're going to attack the group, you should play here. This block seems a little silly now that I can come here. If it's like this, we're becoming a little bit thicker, then white does need to jump out. I guess the turn is the white being able to break through is not ideal. Even if you just played this way, extend, right? Like you can always answer this with just extending here. And your worry should not be the corner. If white wants to take the corner, that's fine. You should just let that happen because at this point you can spend time to just take all the cash, right? Like this area is a lot larger than the few points that you get in the corner here. We don't need to answer that. We should play the Hane. Okay, this unfortunately fixes the issue for black. Now this corner is in a little bit more danger. Okay, I would play here, force the opponent to run out. This kind of leaves a co-shape slightly better for white. White also can do something like this. So now they can give up a lot more stones. You're forced to take a lot of stuff. White has more stones to play lightly with and make eye shape, whereas black was forced to capture one stone using 6 stones, which isn't ideal. Oh, it's probably better to play something like this and then uh maybe play like this. So if the opponent doesn't play here and instead plays like this, we can probably get away with making local life. This isn't ideal, but it is one way to live. It just means that black has supreme thickness in the center. This could be done with something like poking, but does white actually need to save these stones type of thing? Hane was good. We didn't need to give the opponent the shape. We also probably didn't need to cut. So like you could actually spend a move on the outside here. So something you could have done was make use of the shapes here. Probably not cut, but play here. So if they connect, then you can come out. Now, like because you have center control, the opponent needs to make like, do they play here and allow you to occupy the top right, or do they try to break in and then you get to control the center for the rest of the game? A very tough choice. Here, white just gets to. You don't need to force yourself to jump in. You can play the long game, right? There's a larger move playing on the bottom. You can jump out, try to make this as large as possible, force the opponent to try to come in somehow, and then attack it, right? What happens? So maybe I should explain a little bit more. So what happens with like stuff like this, right? Your goal is not to kill them, but your goal is to force them to go into the center. So you're breaking points while they're running, and then you're making points here as well, right? So the opponent is too weak to do anything. So now, like we're breaking into the important areas that black cares about. That's kind of the big idea when you try to make large areas. Whereas, if you play here, well, black's happy to do moves like this, right? Maybe not that one. Maybe just this one. And like you're pressed really low, whereas black is happy to play play a play for the center themselves. Probably even start with this move again. So it might be better to just play the sector line where white we can grow. So if our opponent just takes something small and simple, we can continue to grow and we can keep pushing it until they start invading. And then this is probably a section where you're going to gamble whether or not you can kill your opponent. So in the game, we got to come out. So this is great. There's better ways to do it. We can just jump. Extending. Right. So here, we're actually giving the opponent more leeway to build this side of the board. Even if we play moves like this, you're also coming into contact with the fact that black is going to be able to push through here. Right? So you're not going to be able to make points. You're actually just running. And eventually, when you do connect, black is going to play a very large move like 11. And now you run into this position where black doesn't actually care about some of the stones, and instead is more willing to give them up in order to make a larger profit. Because black is happy that they're able to just break in here directly. It looks like something similar had happened, but black is actually a little bit weaker here. So the key move would have been to just push once more. Okay. I would have just played this one. I don't see if black just blocks. It's the stones are dead. And if you just attach, I think you can just extend or even play. Yeah, you can just extend. So now if it's like this, you shouldn't really be worried about any like cut on the outside. Sure, it could look a little erroneous, but like these stones are almost half dead. So like now if black tries to live with them, you can play the Atari, and it's not going to live. It is a race, but it's going to be short on liberties. And if at any point they play moves like this, right, you can still attack the shape in general. So they will probably continue to try to do some sort of life, but once you just take, there's not enough space. So in the game, black was able to break the bottom and start attacking. This type of stuff you should just resolve by pushing very simply. You can extend down to protect the group. If white fixes, then you have free reign to jump in, but also kind of like focus on the bigger picture, right? Like this area is large, some of this area is going to be very big, but we don't need to full on scale. We've already profited by being able to play underneath here. Breaking the side is all we need to do. Now we're in a bit of trouble. Oh, we're just giving up the stones? That's not going to be ideal. You can play here. If they play this, you can cut first, and then play here. Doesn't exactly work, so okay, so we can't do that. But they got to play here, and then this. That's troublesome. Oh, that's not necessarily a good move. So now we have a collator that white can play without issues. That's I think at the very least you should be able to play here. If it's like this, then we have this very powerful move, so they can't play that one. And if they play here, they're going to lose the stones, so they actually need to play like this. So at least you can get, something in the corner. But like this, we're trying a little too hard maybe. Probably need to play a move in the center first, and then look for a cut. The idea being if they play here, we want to try and cut the opponent. The issue with trying to cut the opponent is they have some Sente moves. But even if they were able to cut, like it's a double move, right? So like even if they cut here, let me think. We don't necessarily care, but if they do this, we can just take, and then we can play this go. Playing this go is very large, right? So we can make the game more complicated by playing stuff like this. So they'll probably play here, and then we want to do something similar with moves like this. But again, at this point, the game is actually fairly complicated. Yeah, this I see the Hane. Obviously, the AI is saying like these are bad, but the reason they're bad is just like you're playing with white thickness. White is super thick here. White doesn't care about this. White actually wants to go for everything here, right? Like if we just push and you block, this is almost enough for white to gain profit with. Oh, now we're just dying. Instead, you should focus on stuff like this. So here, I'm sorry about that. We need to focus on, letting some stones die so we can get thickness here. So for example, if we did something akin to this, and then our opponent finally played a very large move, they can't exactly go for everything. So like after, this move, white actually needs to focus on playing moves like this. But later, like this is just going to be a very large endgame for black. The other thing that might be no, it doesn't work. I kind of want to go into this, but the issue is that even if we played here, right? We played a move, and then they get to take, so it's a double co. It doesn't even work. I shouldn't have said anything. Even Dom players make mistakes, and like this is just black is dying. And if we consider that like white is thick on the whole entire side here, like this is all the ice space that you're getting, right? If you only have 2 points next to each other to make eyes, you're no longer alive, and your opponent's killing you. If this group is dead, then we've made a fatal mistake. Was trying to connect with the tiger's mouth, but also at this point, uh, all of our points are almost ruined too. So like, not only did white get thicker here, but that means like there's no points to be had here. We've lost all the potential that we could have had doing some sort of trade. And then like this is just going to be too much. White got the points here, and then they got the break in. So this is kind of game. It doesn't mean that the game is over for players at your level. It just means at a higher level, this would be game over. So it looks like white might actually have gotten themselves in trouble. This actually is not Sente at all. This is not a Sente move. You don't have to play this. White probably could have. White probably should just fix. Yeah, white should just fix. If you play here, this is a big enough move to end the game. Now this move doesn't work, but it does give this. So maybe we play something like this one. So now we can play the Atari, and then black gets to play the extend, but that's about it. What happened later in the game that brought it close? Mostly endgame stuff. White probably played not the greatest endgame. Okay, that's a big move. We needed to play something here. Prevent black. So if you play here, black can still jump, right? So we didn't actually gain points. We only saved. That's not something you should be worried about. Like, you can play here. And if they try throwing in, you can just take, right? So black played a mistake. Black should actually play probably this one. And then here. Or maybe just this one. But we don't need to play this way because we now can play these types of moves. So we force this and then just block. And now the game should absolutely be winning. I think this is. It looks like the game became super close. Oh, I see. This is not. This is so troublesome. If you connect, you die. If you take and then connect, white takes. You still have to play here. So like you didn't actually invade everything. You just didn't need to play that move. We could just get away with this. This move, and then if the opponent wants to throw in, that's fine. Or like they extend down, that's also fine. But this would lead the game to being a lot closer. From the graph, it looks like, oh, I mean that move is Sente. That's also Sente. That's not Sente. Now we play here and we're just winning. All right. I hope you guys learned something. I apologize for not making it this Wednesday, but I took extra care in reviewing these games. So I hope you guys gain some valuable lessons from these.